Hello. Uh, Welcome to my panel on creating original characters. In this panel, I'm going to be talking about designing characters through a couple of methods, either from, I like to call it from the art to the who, and from the who to the art. And that's where from the art to the who is when you draw a character and then start gleaning information about who they are from how the picture looks and how you've designed them. And from the who to art is when you come up with a character and then you're learning how to design them so it represents the character. If you have any comments, questions, or death threats, feel free to put them in the chat. Yeah, so I'm going to talk about some of the techniques and stuff. And then when I will hopefully be able to design a couple characters. And yeah, so I will be taking suggestions from the chat in how I want to design the character, what ideas people want to do. So to start off, we're going to start off with from the who to the art. And so some things you want to think about are what, yes, post is not condemned, that's true. What you want to think about is just some general stuff like what world this is set in, because a character designed for a mostly realistic world is going to look different than a character designed for a high fantasy world, which would look different from an urban fantasy world. People like my hat. Yeah, I made it myself. Yeah, and so you want to think about like what species we're doing. In this video, I'm mostly going to be talking about humanoid characters. And then you also want to think about what their occupation is and the like. And so if you really don't have any ideas specifically about a character, but you have an idea for an occupation, what you can try doing is create a list of 10 things that you know about the occupation, or you know about whatever type of character. Like if you decide, I don't know what type of character I want to do, but I've decided they're going to be a vampire. List 10 things you know about vampires, and then you can circle the ones that stand out to you as interesting for creating a character. What else do you have? You can also start on the physical, just with ideas of what is a physical attribute that someone might have in that certain species or that certain or their certain job or whatever. Physical things that they would gain from just the type of person they are. So that could be if they are a soldier, maybe they will have a scar. Maybe they will wear this type of clothes. If they are going back to the vampire for some reason, if they're a vampire, probably they might have fangs. They might have, I don't know, the widow's peak and the like. So if anyone in the chat would like to suggest a occupation or a species for us to try out, then we can start on creating our first character. See what people say. I'll wait for a suggestion. How does alignment affect your take on design? Okay, I'm assuming, so from KP says, how does alignment affect your take on design? I'm assuming by alignment, you mean like the D&D alignments, which is like the lawful evil, lawful good, chaotic evil stuff. And I find that very interesting, and I'm going to get into that when we start talking about more specific features, because I find that the type of morality, I guess, and values can influence especially how you draw the eyes, but also I'm going to get into shapes and the like. So let's start. I'm seeing gravedigger that is also a necromancer, and I am so here for that. So let's think of a few things that have to do with necromancy. So we're going to try to write that down and see if writing by hand on my drawing program works very well. So we have gravedigger. Hold my laptop in place. Slash necromancer. I apologize for my terrible handwriting, and it just gets worse when I'm writing on a screen. Okay, so let's think of 10 things that has to do with a gravedigger or necromancer. I might not get up to 10 because we have limited time, but I'm thinking a gravedigger as an occupation probably is someone who we're looking at maybe a more morbid personality. For a necromancer, we're seeing like kind of a fantasy world. I also, from necromancer who's also a gravedigger, I feel like I see someone who's like a businessman because like they're working 2 jobs in very much the same field, and the first job is really helping that second job. Yeah, so let's start from there. So in regards to starting on physical attributes, so when I hear necromancer, I'm maybe thinking like a really cool billowing cloak. And when I hear gravedigger, I'm hearing person who wears like, this is what I'm picturing. I'm picturing like overalls that are covered in dirt. That is with like a shovel. That's what I'm picturing. Ooh, but with a romantic side. Yes. Time traveler who accidentally travels to 2020 and can't leave because of quarantine. Oh my gosh. That's great. But yes, CEO of the Dead. I very much like that. So yeah, I'm gonna write that down. CEO of the Dead. CEO of the Dead. Yes. I should have just typed. Anyway, so I really like that. CEO of the Dead. I'm not getting Hades vibes from this though. So for the outfit, I'm definitely thinking overalls with dirt on them underneath a billowing black cloak. So that's what I'm seeing. So that's what I'm thinking. So in regards to physical attributes for characters, and this is going to start to get into the morality thing that I mentioned earlier. One thing that becomes important is like how is shapes, how they're used in especially less realistic things. So triangles are generally associated with amorality, instability, especially down pointing triangles. So that's where you might see a very pointed chin, where you might see pointed ears, or like it'll often be worked in a lot more subtly, like pointed tufts of hair or locks of hair rather, and that type of stuff. For a square type shape, you will often see very like strong, stable characters. For round characters, you generally see more femininity associated with that, as well as like generally kinder characters and the like. I had examples, but I don't remember what folder I put them in, so that's a thing. Yeah, so let me just check the chat real quick. It's people talking about, it's just the night bot. The bot of the night. Anyway. So I think for gravedigger / necromancer, CEO of the Dead, we're probably looking at more triangles for the immorality. And we're also probably looking more at maybe a little bit of square. So I'm picturing maybe squared shoulders, but with triangular tufts of hair. Or more like one thing I do with eyes, I'm going to get so into eyes in a minute, just mentally prepare yourself for that, is to work triangles and eyes, I'll shape them like this. It's getting a lot more curved, or like this. If you want them to be triangular, a square eye might have like more of that type of anime look. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to draw detailed things right now. But yeah, so that's kind of what we might be thinking. All right, so let's get started on sketching this person. I am going to be at a very weird angle, so I'm going to pause my video. I'm so sorry. Stop video. Okay, so now I can work a little bit easier because my computer's at a better angle. So I'd like it if I could. There we go. I'm gonna hide that and open up a new tab. So let's start sketching. Let's pick a sketch color. Bow tie would get less in the way. Do that second one is one of the Joker's eyes. Oh, interesting. That is fascinating. Totally a necktie with the overalls. Oh, I see where that was from. Okay, interesting. So let's start sketching here. This is what we like to call the holy artist's cross, the face, for structuring the face. I'm seeing like that, bit of a pointed chin. I might make the head a little bit longer. And I'm gonna square out the shoulders. For me personally, when I'm creating a character sheet, I don't like to do complete full body. I tend to cut off at the knees or ankles because I find those harder to draw. And I want this to be not about getting a nice full body as opposed to just getting across what I want in the character. So if like the feet are really important, definitely include them, but they're not. Let's see here. Mr. Lenny B. Bean, gee, wonder who that is, asks, what program are you using to sketch? I'm in Krita. It is a free art program. I really like it. I prefer it for doing, I work on a laptop that can do touchscreen for my art. So I prefer it for that in like the iPad mode. I don't know what it's called. Let's draw some really, no, overalls have a lower, it's not really a neckline if it's that low, but you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so let's get this sketch in. And then I'm going to, once we have this kind of roughed out, I'm going to create a new layer and hide this, and then we can talk about the facial features, which I think are most important. I'm still in eraser mode. So let's block in big cloak vibes. And what did we say? We said like a little bow tie. Yes, okay. Let's put that in. So that's what we're seeing. Let me just check the shape real quick. All right, so this is what I'm feeling right now. And I'm definitely, you want to start thinking about colors, that color vibes you're getting. So I'm definitely getting with the CEO and the dead vibes, I'm seeing dark purples kind of come to mind. So let's just keep that in the back of our head, maybe throw in some swatches. I like that color. Ooh, KP is loving it. Thank you, KP. Yeah, and I'm seeing definitely some little working in there. Okay, so now I'm gonna hide this and we're gonna talk about eyes. Let's just talk about eyes because I can talk about them for a very long time. Eyes are wild, okay? They are in artwork. They are truly how people say they're the window to the soul, because what's so interesting about them is you can communicate a lot about morality, a lot about who the character is from the eyes. And so I'm going to pull up a couple reference photos I have at the top here and talk about this. One thing I find very interesting is mismatched eyes are a sign of gray morality and are very often associated in animation with anti-heroes. So I'm going to pull out a couple of my example images. This is a character from Code Geass, Lelouch, and very much an anti-hero figure. And as you can see, he has one regular eye and one slightly demonic eye, and they don't match up. And you might also notice that the demonic eye does not have catchlights. Catchlights are a sign of innocence in art very often. So that's pretty interesting. I also have another example of, it will let me pull up a thing. This is, I don't know who did this art. It's signed. It's not my art. Can't really read the name, but that's who did that. Because I couldn't find a nice picture of the character just on their own. Again, very similar, mismatched eyes for an anti-hero, with one eye being more demonic and not having catchlights. Seeing the theme here? Ya should. I'm also going to pull up another picture of the same character, CL Phantompine from Black Butler. When you can't see an eye, it's showing that you can't see the character. You also see, so for example, the demonic eye is covered up, and that's saying to you, you don't know their morality. It's still mismatched, so they're leaning towards gray morality, but you don't really know what's up. All right, so let's go back. You also see, when you can't see anyone's eyes at all, like you'll see this very often in animation, so often to the point that I couldn't think of a specific example to show here, where if shadow or hair starts covering the eyes, the character is either extremely guilty or being super evil. I know you see that a really lot with Light in Death Note. I can't think of any other specific examples because it's just so ubiquitous. So let's try to figure out what we have here. Are there non-anime examples? Okay, I'm reading the other comment. That is, twinkle, twinkle, little star, why is art so freaking hard? Up above the world so high, I cannot draw the other eye. You are a big heckin' mood, good sir. So non-anime examples, it's not as explicit, not an anime, and most of the animation I watch is anime. So this is more prevalent in artwork. So but you might see it in other shows. Like I know at one point, so someone's mentioning The Undertaker from Black Butler, definitely. You can't see his eyes like 99% of the time, except for at one point where you see them glowing. But yeah, non-anime examples are when the camera cuts so that you only see someone from maybe the nose or the mouth down, or you don't see their head. And that's almost always someone in great power who you don't know what they're about, and it's strongly implied that they're evil. That, like, I can't think of a specific example. I want to say they did it in Lucifer at one point, but it's generally a lot subtler with live action. Okay, we are running out of time, so we're gonna start drawing this face. Okay, good. I'm in a color. I'm trying to think of examples from American Gods, the show. I have not seen American Gods. I got you, Stormcrow. I know what you were referring to. Yeah, I've not seen American Gods, but I 100% believe you because if memory serves, I know that Neil Gaiman definitely writes in stuff like that and has a lot of interesting morality with his characters. So let's start working on this face. So kind of rougher, broader shoulders, giving him a bit of a longer neck. Let's block off what we can't see because it's hidden by the hood. And let's go here. While I sketch this in, I'm also going to talk a bit more about, what are they called? Catchlights. Oh, KP, I'm thinking more Western art and animation, like Western comics. Again, I bet that it's also a thing in that, but I just don't personally read that much of it, so I can't really think about that. Oh, yeah, Sakura163 is saying Odin is a character with one eye. That could be an example. Definitely. Odin is known for his cunning and sometimes a bit dubious morality, and so it makes perfect sense that he would have one eye. And he traded that eye so that he could have access to great knowledge. So that's definitely a great example. And that's a mythological precedent for this trope. That's probably part of the origin of it, is characters like Odin. Also saying KP is saying that it's interesting. I like KP. KP is really involved in the chat. Let's see here. So what type of eyes do we want for this character? Oh, I forgot to put in his bow tie. Actually, you know what? Okay, I think a bow tie is very cute, but I feel like if we're going with CEO of the Dead, he has a regular tie. I'm so sorry. Yeah, boy. Okay, so what type of eyes are we thinking? I'm gonna make my brush a little bit smaller, and I'm gonna change color just to make it easier for me to do this. I'm thinking kind of, oh, that's very bright, but whatever, it's too late. I think I'm on this till 6:30. So let's try blocking in some eyes. Does this look nice and visible? I'm in a digital program. Why am I making myself draw the other eye? I can just copy paste. Squinting. Like, do you want them to be squinting? I feel like dead, emotionless, but with a politician smile. Ooh, that's spicy. I like the politician smile. And that's another thing. I'm going to get to this in a minute, but the kind of one thing with mouths is when they are kind of halfway, it can tell you a lot of stuff. Like you'll see a lot of like lopsided smiles in evil smiles, which is pretty interesting. The whole CEO. These eyes look nothing like each other. That's irritating. Let's erase them and start again. So as I'm drawing this, are you guys getting any vibes with names? Because one thing I find when designing original characters is that as I draw them, more is just kind of revealed about them as it happens. And that's when I think of it as a character telling me their name. And it's very interesting. So I'm going to go with the darker color to make it a bit more visible. So we're getting kind of, so if we want dead eyes, that would be an eye with no catchlight, which is pretty interesting. So let's make slimmer eyes. I'm making them have a point at the end, which is again getting back into the triangle thing. And I'm going to give them a wider pupil, which I see a lot in more dead eyes, which is the request of a lot of the people. So let's put that in. There we go. And I'll probably give them, this is not going to be their final thing, probably, if I have time. I will, if we run out of time on this character, I will post a finalized version of them to my Twitter at RosemaryCat5. And that's also a great segue. If you are interested in commissioning character art, I do that. So, so you should either DM me on Twitter or you can email RosemaryCat5art@gmail.com. Although he's not one-eyed, Scar in Lion King has that through his eye for a reason. Yep, that's a great point. That's what we're talking about. You can see this trope reoccurring a really lot. So that's very interesting. So I'm going with a more arched eyebrow that, again, has a point, and these sharper angles lean towards amorality. So I'm hopefully going to, do we want to cover one of his eyes? What do you think, people? I'm so proud of my internet connection letting me do this. Just kidding, I'm on a hotspot. Scars, ooh, that's very spicy. Do we want perhaps, maybe like 3 scars? I don't know. What do you think of doing something like that? Looks like hair. Yes. Yes. And it's based on Hamlet, so you can see it even more. Okay, so that's in regards to the Lion King thing. So worldly, oh my, oh dear, I see that pun. That's terrible. I love it. I want a demon eye. Let's see. I'm feeling hair over here, which was not my intent, but let's put it in. So again, lopsided hair with pointed locks is playing into this amorality thing. I'm gonna give him more of like a sharper nose. I'm going to erase some of my guidelines because they're in my way. Work in layers, kids. Let's get rid of some of that so that we can see what we're doing. Cool. Okay. And I would say yes. Thank you, ignoble gnome. Coiffed hair would certainly match. I don't know what coiffed means. I'm embarrassed to say. Worldly, please clarify. Okay, I'm gonna wait for you to clarify before I make a decision on whether or not that fits the character. But so as you can see, like the more I'm drawing, the more you're realizing about the character, the more you're thinking, oh, this is giving me that idea. And I think that's kind of my overall concept with creating original characters is you start from a small point and then it just keeps expanding and expanding and leading to more and more ideas. Worldly, picture a business major. Oh, wow, thanks. That's so specific. Yeah. So we started out with Gravedigger, and now we're having this whole character. Coiffed means neatly styled. Ooh. Okay. People are trying to call the phone that is my hotspot. So hopefully that doesn't make us lose. Oh, short hair with a swoop. Style from the French. Yes, okay. Let's think. Let's try to make, oh my gosh, I love that he's wearing overalls over a literal like tie and button-down combo and a cloak. That is great. Hey, why is this opening? Okay. Just all I did was try to reorder my layers. Okay. So let's add in a slight view of his overalls. There we go. We're going to see a little bit of his tie sticking out. Maybe a little bit pendant, holding the cloak closed. All right, so you're all mentioning swoops and coiffed. So is everyone in favor of that, or do we prefer how it looks right now? Mr. Underhill MBA, I don't know what that is. But thank you for commenting, iCarlotta. Okay, I have 8 minutes So let's make some final decisions. What is this character's name? Give us the swoops. Or give us death. All you will find is death. For this is a necromancer, you fool. MBA is a business degree. Oh, are you suggesting oh, you're suggesting that as an okay. I didn't get that was a suggestion at first. Sorry. I thought you were mentioning a character that you knew that was similar. Deaf swoopy coiffed hair KP. Wow. Like he went to the barber and hair stays in place when doing action. Oh my gosh. So are we getting, I like definitely the last name Underhill. So let's, oh no, did I put, I may have put two things on the same layer that I shouldn't have. Yike. Did I? No, those are the ears. Oh no. Okay. Let's create, or better yet, I can just erase it. That's fine. Okay, I'm going to make the coifs. Due to popular demand, Mr. Underhill is going to get, oh, this is being active. Bob is always a quick name. Harold. Fosser is a gravedigger in Rome. Interesting. So are we getting the, I just chopped his eyebrow in half. I'm so sorry. Actually, or do I like that? We like that. You must be bold. Okay. We're going to try to do the coiffed hair, even though I don't have an image reference, which bothers me a little bit, but it's fine. I just added way too many layers. All right. Are we feeling like, that's too small. Is this what people are referring to? Like, I feel like I'm doing, what are they called? The me parade on like the Wii. Manager Swoopy Underhill. Ah, yes, that's the one. Harold Underhill, MBA. Picture your local weatherman's hair. Oh dear. I'm not sure if there's an audio. If like, I'm not sure how big the lag is. Like I can see the video, but I'm not sure if the audio is faster. Love seeing the creation materialize before our eyes. Yes, that's what we're doing. That's the point of creating original characters, man. So do we like this for the hair? Give me a yes or no. Looks too cute. Oh no. We don't want him to look too cute. All right, I'll erase it once more. Oh wait, but KP likes it. Oh dear. Okay, we're erasing. Oh no, everyone likes it. Oh dear. I got rid of my erasing. I'm sorry, Idavros? I think that's how that's pronounced. I'm sorry, you got outvoted. But now we can see his eye. Are we going with demon eye? Are we covering it up in some way? Are we going with a scar? What do you think? We have 4 minutes. I think this ends at 6:30. Okay, let's start on the mouth while we're thinking about that. We said, oh, I'm still an eraser. We said politician smile. I'm gonna give, this is what we have right now. That is not a great expression, but all right, Demon Eye has been voted in. So let's go. Since for now I'm still in a sketch layer and we're not gonna have time to polish it up, you'll have to check out my Twitter at some point today to see a polished version of it. But for now, I'm gonna sketch it in red. Unless it should be yellow. Yes, we're gonna contrast with the purple. Erase, 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 erase. Okay. So everyone's voting for DM and I. I want to just duplicate the one eye, but that's hard when I'm in tablet mode, so I'm not going to do that. But know that this will look better in the final version. Where's that that thing from earlier with about drawing the other eye? Because it's very true. I'm going to add in a little rim of red there. With the little red pupil. So that's what we're seeing. That's our demon eye. So I would like it if anyone who uses this technique to create an original character would please tag me on Twitter, because I'd love to see it. That would make me very happy. The guy looks like he'll be running for Congress next year. Yes, Underwood for president. Or Underhill, sorry. Wait, did we decide on a first name? Did we go with Harold? Oh, Fosser. I liked Fosser. We're going to go with Fosser Underhill, MBA. Yes. Okay. Let's write that down real quick, just so I don't forget it. So I don't know if the chat's saved because I don't do Twitch. Fosser Underhill. Okay. That looks like he's gonna. Okay. He knows what you've been doing on break at the water cooler. That's so ominous. I love it. Demon eye nearly hit by the hair is good or bad. I don't know if that's a question or a statement, because I agree. So let's erase more guidelines because they're in our way. Ah! That was unintentional. All right, we should be, I'm gonna erase my guidelines and then have some closing statements in a minute. So does anyone have any final questions about this technique? Oh no, am I glitching? Glitching is not ideal. Foster Underhill 2020. Yes, Mick Necromancer is great again. I love that so much. Okay, so this is what we've ended up with. So, okay. So do we have any final questions about this technique, since we only got to do the who to the what? That's manga. Oh my god, why would you say that? Because it's perfect. It makes him look ambiguous, gray, like you said. Yes. Okay. Cool. So I'm gonna let any final statements from the chat. Let's see. I'm a bit behind you. Why vote for the lesser evil? This is amazing. You're all clever. You should all write books. Sorry. You can either have the tip of my head and me seeing the chat, or pale face. Yes. All right. I will post the final piece of this picture on my Twitter. If you do any original characters, tag me on Twitter or email RosemaryCat5art@gmail.com, and that is the same for if you would like to commission me for any character art. So any final things from the chat? Paladin, I pledged my sword to avenge my brother's murder dwarf, and my axe, necromancer, and your brother. He could dig my grave any day. His running mate is Cogthulu. That's true. Love this. Looking forward to checking out the final pick on Twitter. Yep. Okay. So I think that will be all for this panel. Thank you, everyone who watched, and thank you, everyone, for being involved in the chat. That really added to this and made it a very fun experience. So, yeah. check out the final piece later on. Yeah, I mean, he has KP's vote. That's all we really need. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for watching.